Hi everyone, it's Emily, and I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on Embodying Integration Chapter 2, Part 2. So let's get on into it. So the second part of Chapter 2 primarily focuses on the themes that we were discussing last week with certainty, uncertainty, and receiving the gift of enjoyment from God, and how it applies to a psychotherapy or clinical setting. So the four main implications that the authors provide were deep empathy, which I'll just go into it right now. So deep empathy is correlated more with presence versus solutions, and basically the authors were highlighting how I think it was mainly just sitting in stillness is a form of empathy with like another person, and how like the presence of other people and God can facilitate more empathy versus like hearing your therapist like giving solutions, just like hearing feedback from your therapist. That's kind of how I interpreted that, even though it kind of sounds a little iffy. But next is existential delusionment, and the authors highlight the significance of experiencing unpredictability due to the fact that the mind likes to have a sense of control, and it really likes predictability. The authors highlighted how fundamental it is to experience unpredictability, even though unpredictability is scarier. And our mind likes predictability because it likes to know what the next step is, and because we're scared of feeling pain or suffering. Next is radical acceptance, and allows us to understand that there is no avoiding, outrunning, outsmarting, or outperforming our pain. And honestly, it's accepting the fact that pain is unavoidable. We can't just avoid pain. It's a natural human experience, and this acceptance is achieved once we're moving forward to an enriching and meaningful life. Next is valuing the present moment. Ecclesiastes reminds us that in order to escape the persistent anxiety that we must feel because of the future, we need to slow down and show up in the present. And this is something that I struggle with on a daily basis. Next is cracks in our meaning-making systems, and the authors mainly discuss this from a Christianity perspective, and how the global meaning-making foundation of Christianity thought can be easily cracked. And honestly, I can see that because it's having honestly, I feel like every relationship with God is not easy, and it requires effort and work to maintain. And God, we can't just this is what my pastor said, we can't go on a phone call and call God and ask for his advice on anything. That's just not how it works. And there's so much complexity to it, and so many unanswered questions in the realm of Christianity, that I can see how it can bring cracks onto people's experiences of it. Next is a life as a gift, and Kohelet outlines that despite living in an unpredictable and uncontrollable world, God offers us gifts to be enjoyed. And it's our job to notice and value these gifts. And lastly, gratitude. And the Christian view of gratitude is that when we receive a gift, which is grace, we are expected to not give anything in return. And that is our interpretation of gratitude, is when something or someone gives us something, we don't do anything in return. So that is my summary. Next is my favorite point. Kohelet highlights how illusions of control can lead to discontentment, and honestly, I kind of have a personal experience with this. And the authors discussed how one of their clients, Tony, desired more control on her emotions while experiencing chaos, because she was experiencing a ton of unpredictability in her life, and she was just excessively toiling and withdrawing. And then the reason why she was having these feelings was because of the idea of illusion. It was because of her idea of control. And she didn't really recognize that it's an illusion. And once we do recognize that, it allows us to be more present with everything that's going on with our lives in the current present. Even though I just used present twice, it's different meanings, guys. But it allows us to be more engaged with what's going on in front of us. That's what I mean. Do I agree with the author's perspective? I do for the most part. And however, like when the author was sharing her or his, I don't know which author was discussing this. I'm just gonna assume it's what's her name? Megan Anna. I'm just gonna assume it's her. She was talking about how like her perspective of like being so worried about the future changed when she visited another country, and that's great. Like, however, it's kind of unrealistic. Like, not many people around in the world can leave their country and be able to visit another one and be able to escape future orientedness. Like, there are many people in the United States that haven't even seen the ocean, let alone probably never even left the country. Therefore, I feel like this experiencing of being able to escape like persistent anxiety through seeing it through another culture is very subjective, and I feel like it's not fair for like people that haven't left the country. And I'll bring this topic back up later, but yeah, that's kind of my thoughts involving it. And then how does this information relate to your own experiences and beliefs? So this is on page 89. And it's something that I've already discussed it before, but predictable pain is hard enough, but unpredictable pain has an excruciating quality. As someone that experienced both, I'm just going to be vulnerable here. I think I've already discussed this, but the predictable pain that I experienced was the loss of my grandmother when she was diagnosed with Lewy body dementia, and it took... she was like kind of already suffering throughout those like 2 years that she was diagnosed with it, and we knew that she wasn't going to get better because there's no cure for dementia of any kind. So being able to like witness her death and the way it kind of all laid out, it was really hard. It was really hard for me to experience because she was my favorite grandparent, and I know you're not really allowed to say that, but it's true. In terms for the unpredictable pain, when my best friend died in a car accident, it was so excruciating. It was like, it didn't feel real when I received the news that it happened. It just felt like it was a prank, and it literally hit me like a bus did. Like the pain, the suffering, the regret and the guilt, even though like there was really nothing I could do. But as like a 15-year-old and hearing that news, you really don't know how to grasp with all of that information. So yeah. And then my larger question is tying back to what I was discussing with about future orientedness and the author's experience with visiting another country. So my question is just, how would you value the present moment that will allow you to change your perception of time? And this like basically correlates with how will you be focused in the present, and how can you do that without like leaving another country? Because I feel like there's so many little things that we could do to ease our anxiety. However, like because it's persistent, it's only a temporary fix, and I feel like there's not many like permanent solutions. So yeah, I know that's a really hard question to settle on, just because we're college students and I feel like we experience anxiety a lot. But I would like to hear your thoughts, and I can't wait to hear your guys' thoughts more in class. Bye.